Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be talking a lot about Torchlight 3. There was a new post over on the official website as well as a new video that went up on the official Play Torchlight YouTube page. But anyways, we're going to be going over all of the notes and everything that we know about Torchlight 3, previously known as Torchlight Frontiers, because a lot of things have indeed changed. So anyways, I'll link the full article down below if you guys want to read everything, but I'm going to go ahead and have this video serve the purpose to go over the things that most of you guys want to go ahead and check out and be a little bit faster. The gameplay in the background, just as a heads up, is actually Torchlight Frontiers, which essentially is going to be the evolution of what is now Torchlight 3. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, important things with Torchlight 3. First off, instead of it being a free-to-play model, like, well, originally Torchlight Frontiers was a free-to-play game, but Torchlight 3 is now going to be a premium game, as in you have to pay money just like you would normally with the previous Torchlight games, and you will actually own the game. And there is also going to be offline. That is something that a lot of people have been asking for with a lot of action RPGs nowadays. They're all online only, but this is pretty cool. But nonetheless, one important thing also with this is they've removed horizontal progression. This is actually a really good change. If any of you guys have seen the alpha or like the earlier versions of Frontiers, which again is basically Torchlight 3. If I say Frontiers, Frontiers is basically Torchlight 3, but they made a lot of changes to Frontiers, or essentially Torchlight 3 as it is called now. But basically they would have these zones and you would have to re-obtain all of your gear when you entered a different zone, which was actually something that was not what I personally really liked, and I think a lot of people didn't really like the system that they had. It was kind of an experimentation, but they have actually changed that. So I would say that's overall a great change, and I think everyone's going to be really excited about that and will be happy. But I'm mostly curious to know how you guys feel about the game removing its free-to-play model. Are some of you guys upset about it, or do you guys like it? For me, I'm totally fine with either option, as long as the free-to-play model isn't anywhere near pay-to-win, but nonetheless, you guys can let me know how you feel about that. Next up, though, this is actually something pretty big. Torchlight 3 is coming in 2020. They also have plans to release a console version of the game a little bit later, and my guess is to try to hit that holiday season, at least for that console cycle. But again, the release date is unconfirmed, but I'm guessing if the console version comes out towards maybe like Q4, maybe end of Q3, we could get Torchlight 3. But nonetheless, this is overall, again, I would say something that most people are finally excited about, that we're going to actually get our hands on Torchlight 3, aka Frontiers. Next up, though, each frontier now has its own town, which is pretty cool. And it says towns and passages are now the public areas by default, and combat instances do not respawn monsters while players are present. So think of it kind of like you can probably party up in town and then you're going to go ahead and go out. So you'll see other players and probably can interact with them maybe in some form. And you can probably check out those microtransactions. I think a lot of games want that player interaction to be able to see another player with all of that cool gear. But it is technically a buy-to-play game, but I'm sure there's going to be some type of cosmetic microtransaction in the game. But nonetheless, that's pretty cool, and you can still party up with people and bring them anywhere in the entire game, which is pretty cool. But next up over here, this is the important part that I mentioned earlier. It says player gear is no longer tied to the frontier it dropped in. Characters have a single level with XP and power curves adjusted globally to match the new game structure. Characters should reach levels 46 to 50 in the main storyline, and the max character level is 100. So basically, you hit half the max level by just doing the campaign, and then there's some type of endgame content. What that content is, I really don't know, but I'll be keeping up to date with Torchlight 3, as one of the former Diablo 2 members is working on the game, aka Max Schaefer, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how the endgame evolution looks in Torchlight 3 over here. Now we can kind of get an idea, I guess, on what's max level, because I think a lot of people want to know what's the max level in, a game. But anyways, in addition to that, there is a new class called the Sharpshooter. So this is going to be a range class, and it does have like a bow. I'm not going to go into every single skill that they mention here, because there's still probably a lot more skills to go ahead and go over, and things of course are subject to change. But again, I'll link that down below. And since I honestly haven't covered Torchlight content in quite some time, in fact, the last time I think I covered any Torchlight content was when Torchlight 1 became free on Epic Games. But I believe that was like a certain like month. I don't know if it's still available, but nonetheless, I do want to go ahead and briefly go over the classes here. So let me go ahead and show you guys the other classes that are available in the game. This is all going to be linked down below also if any of you guys want to check out the full video without my commentary. But let's go ahead and just go over and check out all of the classes that are available now that we have the Sharpshooter, which is more so like a ranged class. So this one is the Dusk Mage, which is basically like your standard like mage caster class in the game. There are, as of right now, there's 4 classes, and I'm sure that you can kind of build them to your liking, because obviously there's going to be some type of like way to incorporate more of a certain set of skills. And I'll also get into some of like the I would say end game itemization, because they do briefly mention sets here, but yeah, anyways, so that is the Dusk Mage. These are really short, by the way. And then over here we have the Forge class. This is kind of like a mech that has like all of these weapons at their arsenal. You'll see something pretty cool here in a moment, where like he's got like this minigun inside of his chest. He's got a lot of things at his arsenal. He has like a whirlwind attack over here, and he can go ahead and group up all the enemies. So this guy might be kind of a cool class to go ahead and mess around with, because it has like some type of gap closer, and it's got range, and you can build up your heat. The mechanic of this character is building up your heat, and then you can kind of like expend it, if you so to speak. So if you want to almost think of it kind of like building up like Fury in Diablo, if you play Diablo 3, you can maybe kind of think of it kind of like that in a sense. And then this is a really unique class. This is the Rail Master. This guy's got this little thing that follows him on these tracks, and if you want to think of it kind of like a pet class, if you will, although in Torchlight you always have a pet anyways, but now you have this little train that follows you. And I think this one is a really cool mechanic, because it will only go where, of course, you build those tracks, and you can actually make a circle. So if you're going against a boss, you can kind of go ahead and strafe, as you can kind of see over here, which I think is a really cool and unique concept for an action RPG genre, to have a class that is like this. But again, these are really short videos, and these were actually a long time ago when, of course, it was called Torchlight Frontiers, but again, it's essentially going to be Torchlight 3. So let's go ahead and go back to the closed alpha VOD over here for Torchlight, while I go ahead and talk a little bit more about, of course, the stuff that you guys want to know about. And again, if you guys want to watch the full thing, I'll link it down below. But that is Torchlight Frontiers. Again, that's the older version of what is essentially Torchlight 3 now. So the next thing I want to mention that is really huge, and I think a lot of players will be really happy about this. So Torchlight 3 is going to be available on Steam. It used to be over on this Arc system, which was a completely different like game downloader. There's so many different ones, and I think most people are going to be excited about this, meaning that you can have access to it on Steam. Because some people, while they do really want to play a game, if it's on another game platform, they're just like, I just don't want to download more things. I don't want to download so many of these things to manage, and I think this is overall a great change. And then over here, there's a lot of actual updates over here that I kind of want to get into. So first off, there are a bunch of different shrines, and they've changed certain things in the game. But anyways, the shrine durations are reduced to 20 seconds, down from 45, but each has more potent effects. So, I mean, if you've played Diablo or Path of Exile, you guys probably know what shrines are. You just click on them and it activates some type of buff for you. Unless you're playing Diablo 1 had negative effects sometimes, but anyways, so the speed shrine is going to give you increased movement speed by 30%, and so it got nerfed, but it's going to increase your attack speed by 60. You have a healing shrine that restores 33% of your maximum health per second, up from 20%. And then the skill shrine replaces the shrine of energy. It reduces all cooldowns by 50% while active, instead of increasing resource regeneration. This evenly affects all characters in an impactful way, because the way that some classes generate resources is a little bit different. There's also the Might Shrine, which is 100% crit chance rather than increasing raw damage. And the Smoldering Shrine over here is going to be able to have it so it replaces the Fire Defense Shrine. It gives a 100,000 fire defense and causes fire novas to pulse from you every second. And then Plague Shrine replaces the Poison Defense Shrine, gives you 100,000 poison defense. So it basically makes you immune to like one certain thing. And they've added a lot of different improvements for character customization. I'm sure because originally it was a game that had a free-to-play model, these would have costed money, but there's a lot more character customization options, like face, hair color, skin color, all of that thing over there. And again, I'll link this down below if you guys want to read everything on this. But there's also something else that I wanted to mention for potential endgame content here, because I'm sure a lot of you guys want to know what the heck endgame content looks. So we're going to actually fast forward this dev stream so they can go back into like town here and show some of the items here. But anyways, there is going to be someone named Rando the Gambler over here. So if you've played Diablo 2, Geed, or if you want to think of Kadala, like the Bloodshard Gambler, Rando over here has a shop, and he can actually provide a random item at a player's current level that will go ahead and cost gold. This is actually a discussion that we had last night in my live stream when we were playing some Diablo. We were talking about how gold doesn't really have an impact in the game. They didn't really mention anything as far as trading goes, and as far as auction house. There's a lot of stuff I'm interested in, and if you guys are new here and we want to be up to date on all the Torchlight stuff, I will be covering this game very, very extensively because I really enjoyed Torchlight 1 and 2. Especially 2 with the mods. But anyways, it will give us access to try to utilize gold for something, because in Diablo 2 you could get literally like some of the best items by just simply gambling. It's RNG, and it allows gold to have more weight in the game. Item nameplates, that doesn't really matter too much. But there is this ally revive system over here that I think is kind of cool. But the thing that I want to go ahead and go into is there is going to be legendary items that will have some type of proc effect where, like, let's say like Frostwall activates ice armor when you fall to low health, preventing all damage. So there are going to be legendaries that will have like these affixes. In some action RPGs, literally the whole game is a stat stick, so this is good to go ahead and see. But in addition to that, there is unique set bonuses by wearing multiple items from the same set. So this would be something that like you guys are probably familiar with, like green items in Diablo. So that's kind of cool. So we can kind of get maybe kind of an idea on where the end game is going, and it does specify like 3-piece set bonuses. I hope it doesn't become slam 6 pieces of one set and then there's your build, right? I like to have a little bit more room for development as well as some creativity, so not everyone is essentially utilizing the same things. But anyways, guys, that's all the news and updates we have for Torchlight 3 at the moment, but I will again update you guys in the future. So if you guys are new here, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and to be up to date with Torchlight as well as other action RPG content, because Wolston is coming out very soon and we'll be covering that as well. But if you guys want to read the full article, again, I'll link it down below. I'll pin it down below with all the videos that I went ahead and showed off in this video, because I'm taking this from the official Torchlight page over here. But again, if you see any gameplay of Torchlight Frontiers, it's basically the same thing minus that system where you basically have to re-get all of your gear from going into another frontier essentially. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.